CM community. This is Keith Hackleman. I'm a fourth year CM student and CCCE Ambassador. I'd like to introduce my first guest, Chris Forster, a Vice President of Operations for Largo Concrete. Thank you for joining us today for our very first hard hat discussion.
Thank you for the invitation, Keith. Looking forward to chatting with you today.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get to where you are? What's your background story?
I am a Cal Poly graduate from 1984, and back then it was actually just transitioning to construction management. So I started originally in the Connie program. I started with a self-performing general contractor upon graduation, and it's an interesting story how I actually ended up getting my first job out of school. Back then, there wasn't career fairs, and there weren't really job employer interviews, info sessions, things of that nature. It was just a bulletin board outside the CM building. And I happened to want to get an interview with the certain employer that I started with, and all the slots were full. So I ended up calling and getting in touch with the person that was going to be interviewing students. And as it happened, he was staying at a local hotel that I was a maintenance person at. I did maintenance in my college job life. And we ended up meeting there that evening after he had his other interviews that were full, and I had dinner with him. And out of all the interviews he had, I was the one that ended up getting the job, not making the sign-up list originally. And yeah, it was a great start to a career. I started there in the Los Angeles area, and being a self-performing general contractor, quickly gravitated towards the concrete side of the company. And over the next few years, ended up doing lots and lots of projects in very short periods of time, and worked my way up into the executive role, and have since joined a new company 6 years ago, Largo Concrete, and just love every minute of it. The self-performing world, working as a subcontractor, you get so many varied experiences in a much shorter time than you might get with a general contractor.
What's like some advice that you have for students that maybe are struggling to find a job because of the pandemic? Like I know some companies are not hiring as much. What's a good way to stand out to a company?
Well, standing out by reaching out is a huge benefit to students these days. Many of the interns and full-times that we actually hire on a regular basis aren't necessarily just met at a career fair. We meet either virtually or over the phone, at least in advance, and they show that passion for their career starting, and they show the interest in the company by reaching out in advance. And then when you do meet up, either at an info session or a meet and greet or a career fair, you have a sense of that person already. You're looking forward to seeing them. You know them, and that would be one tip, I think, is to try and reach out in advance and make contact with someone that you're going to be able to see either virtually or in person at an upcoming event. When we're talking to students, one of the questions that I think is important to be able to answer is having reviewed the company's website and any of the pertinent information. I mean, companies take a lot of pride in their websites and what they're showing out there in public. And as a potential employee, you should try to get to know what they're putting out there, whether it be, what project they recently landed, what projects they're currently building, an award that they recently won for a special aspect of a project. Those are the kinds of things companies take pride in, and when you're familiar with them in advance and have the ability to talk about them, in that interview situation, it really seems to help the interview go well.
Describe your ideal project manager or superintendent.
So my ideal superintendent is one that isn't afraid to communicate, and especially verbal communications with this team. We have to have a cohesive team to be able to build a project, to the best of our abilities. And when someone can't communicate on a team, makes it challenging because you're always finding out about things after the fact, or things that you could have helped with in advance if you had known.
As a student, speaking for myself at least, I've heard about these professional organizations, and they kind of try and push you to sign up for one or kind of learn more about one at least. So maybe you could go into a little detail about kind of ASCC is what you're involved with right now currently. Maybe tell us a little bit about them.
Most of the professional organizations do revolve around some form of knowledge or training. ASCC, as an example, is a contractors organization that provides different types of things. It's really, I'll say, a uniform platform that can be used by a family business with very few employees that doesn't have staff to create, JHAs every day or for the work activities they're doing. Being a part of an organization like that, they have standard JHAs that you have access to as a member. There's committee work to do within the organizations, and what does committee work do? Well, it keeps you as an individual up to date in terms of things that are changing in the world around you as it relates to, in our case, concrete construction, whether it be a change in some new safety protocols that are coming down the road. I think back to when COVID hit and many of the regulatory impacts that immedately went into place, and how to respond to them and create protocols within the work environment to have a safe workplace in the COVID world. And ASCC as an organization, like many others, just stepped up immediately, and through participation by all members, generated different protocols that could be used on job sites by its contractor members. And as you know, contractors have been able to continue working on construction projects all through COVID and provide a safe work environment for the employees. Yeah, and I would encourage all students to just go to the website and see what you can find out. ACI, American Concrete Institute, as an example, they have a membership, a student membership that's actually free. And as a free student membership, you get access pretty much to everything within the organization. It's just very rewarding. They also have student competitions at their conventions. It's just, there again, it's just a great place to continue to build your network, gain knowledge along the way, and give back a little bit as you grow your career by providing that knowledge to those that are in need of it.
How early on did you join these professional organizations in your career?
I started professional work in organizations very, very early. The gentleman that I had mentioned earlier on that recruited me out of college was very, very active in the professional organization world. So early in my career, I spent a lot of time attending evening events and with him, and immediately saw the benefit of like I said, getting the knowledge that you can get at these different events and meetings, and building that network. I say this quite often. In the concrete construction world, I may not know everything there is to know, but I can assure you, if you were to come to me with a problem, I can find somebody that has the answer for us, and that comes through that organizational, knowing different people and knowing, learning and knowing what they can where they can help, where their specialty is, what they've experienced. So there isn't a problem that hasn't existed before and been solved. We can find the answer.
Yeah, I think that's something, as myself, fourth year graduating, going into the professional workforce, that's definitely something I want to look into. I think definitely helps. It kind of taking the jump from school to work. Yeah, school can prepare you, but it can only prepare you for so much. So kind of having another database to get all that knowledge from definitely is helpful.
Most companies, because they're, again, that thirst for knowledge and learning that you're getting from that, are just, more than willing to provide that as one of the company benefits to employees for participating in that. So as part of one of the national organizations, ASCC, that I am involved in, that's one of our primary initiatives is to educate contractors on the benefits of wearing helmets as opposed to hard hats. And one of the accomplishments over the last couple of years that I'm very proud of implementing here at, helping implement here at Largo, is that move to helmets. In my career, I've seen a couple instances where accidents have resulted in traumatic brain injuries to individuals at the job site. And to be able to make that transition to helmets and truly make a difference in that instance of a fall or instance of an impact to the helmet region is a very, very proud part of my last couple of years here at Largo. We company-wide have made that transition and are very, very proud of it. The program there at Cal Poly is just unlike any other program that I've been exposed to through at least the recruiting phase. In that the learn by doing philosophy that Cal Poly does have and truly believes and truly promotes within the students is just a tremendous asset to have. So as the students go through their career at Cal Poly, they need to take advantage of every learn by doing opportunity that they have there at Cal Poly. It is very rewarding in your career.
That's some good advice. Yeah, definitely. That's one of the main reasons I chose to go to Cal Poly specifically, was the learn by doing kind of motto, getting hands dirty. That's like the best way for myself personally. I know that like hands-on learning is the best way for me to learn something. I'm not going to learn it reading it out of a textbook.
Very much so.
Thank you, Chris, for taking time out of your day to kind of let us pick your brain and give us some advice on the construction management in general, and kind of learn more about these professional organizations that you're involved in. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and hopefully once we get this video out, we can send it to you and share it with our students.
Thank you for your time today, Keith. It's been a pleasure spending time with you this morning, and hopefully, any words of wisdom for the Cal Poly students that, that could be a benefit to them, and as they enter the workforce, it's appreciated to offer that.